John 10:11 says these words, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Recently, I had a friend give me this book by W. Philip Keller, who was a shepherd from East Africa who became a pastor and wrote this best-selling book, A Shepherd Looks at Psalm 23. As someone who has never had sheep, I really appreciate his perspective to look at this classic psalm about God being our shepherd. And so today, we're going to look ahead at the words of Jesus in John 10 about how he is the good shepherd. But first, I want to draw our attention to the words of Psalm 23 and how this helps us understand who God is and who Jesus is. If Jesus is our good shepherd, then frankly, that makes us sheep. And Keller makes an interesting note on why God has chosen to call us sheep. This is what he says. It is no accident that God has chosen to call us sheep. The behavior of sheep and human beings is similar in many ways. Our mass mind or mob mentality, our fears and timidity, our stubbornness and stupidity, his words, not mine, and our perverse habits are all parallels of profound importance. Now, doesn't that make you feel better today? Psalm 23 begins with these words, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Even though we're in a position of need, we are not in a position of want. I love what Keller says about what it is and what it means that God is our shepherd and why we belong to him. He says, first, I belong to him simply because he deliberately chose to create me as the object of his own affection. Number two, I truly belong to him simply because he has bought me again at the incredible price of his own laid down life and shed blood. I mean, Jesus emphasizes this part in John 10:11. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The Lord is not just the shepherd, he is my shepherd. Now, one of the practices that Philip Keller lifts up is that each sheep would have had a distinct earmark that would be cut into or branded into the sheep, so that even at a distance, if there was multiple herds of sheep that were milling about, the shepherd could see which sheep belonged to him just by a quick glance. With God as our shepherd, we belong to him. He has made us his own and we belong to him, and he has paid for us. He has marked us with his blood. Part of the gift of being one of his sheep is that we do not need to be in want. Keller says the word want, as used here, has a broader meaning than might at first be imagined. No doubt the main concept is that of not lacking, not deficient in proper care or management. But a second emphasis is the idea of being utterly contented in the good shepherd's care and consequently not craving or desiring anything. The image I get is a kid who is just completely relaxed and content playing with his parents, not worried about anything because he feels so safe. Here's what Psalm 23 and John 10 tells us. God cares deeply, personally, and completely for us. This is one of the emphasis of the scriptures. God cares for us better than we can care for ourselves. Psalm 23 goes on to say, the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And so in John 10:11 through 18, Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. Last week's I am statement, I am the gate, and this week's statement, I am the good shepherd, are tied together as overlapping metaphors in John chapter 10. Last week, the gate served as an illustration to protect and to provide, which is also true with this one being the good shepherd. But notice the way the good shepherd does even more for the sheep. Verse 11 and verse 14 both open with that I am sentence. I am the good shepherd. And then Jesus gives two specific things that means. In verse 11, he says that the good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The good shepherd is willing to sacrifice for his sheep. He's willing to face outside enemies like the wolf who will attack the sheep. The good shepherd doesn't abandon, but he sacrifices for the sheep. And then in verse 14, after repeating, I am the good shepherd, he continues, I know my sheep and my sheep know me. The good shepherd has an intimacy with his sheep. He recognizes them. They know him and know his voice. I want us to pause and consider this. The good shepherd knows you. He knows your faults and your features. He knows you and loves you and cares for you. He delights in you. Now we're going to invite you to look a little bit more closely at John chapter 10, verses 11 through 18, and see how Jesus communicates his identity as the good shepherd. And then we invite you to consider what this I am statement means for you as you seek to fill in the blank of this in your own life. Because Jesus is the good shepherd, then I am